I'm gonna sound insane saying this, and I put off saying I put off picking who I was gonna pick to win the fight in my video when it got announced, the Volkanovski Islam 2 fight when it got announced. I put off announcing who I was gonna pick, but I've done a lot of thinking. I've rewatched the first fight. I've taken in all the circumstances behind the fight, and yeah, I'm gonna sound crazy here, but I'm picking Alexander Volkanovski to knock out Islam Makhachev in the rematch. I know he's only got 11 days' notice, but if any man on this planet can do it, it's Alexander Volkanovski. And after that fight, I said I would pick him against anybody. I thought he beat Islam Makhachev. You know, it was a close fight. It could have gone either way. I still think it was 3-2 to Volkanovski, but arguably, yeah, it could have been 3-2 to Islam Makhachev. I don't think it was a robbery, but a very close fight. And I think from what I've seen in that fight, there's more for Alexander Volkanovski to like if he tweaked a few things in that fight, I think he would have won it. While Islam Makhachev, on the other hand, I don't think there was really much else he could have tweaked in that fight. And I think Alexander Volkanovski is going to come into this fight where he left off in that fifth round. And, you know, I don't think he's going to be as scared. No, I'm not saying he was scared, but, you know, I don't think he's going to be as worried about being taken down in that fight. He realized he could get back up. He felt Islam Makhachev's strength. He felt stronger than him. I don't think Islam Makhachev's going to get as much off in the striking as he did in the first fight. I think Volkanovski, like I said, I think he's going to get off where he left off in that first fight in the fifth round. I think we're going to see him just not go insane. I don't think he's going to go out there brawling, but I think we're going to see him take a bit more risks in that fight. I think we're going to see him use his leg kicks a lot more. You know, he didn't really throw too many leg kicks in the first fight against Islam. I think he threw about maybe 5 leg kicks that I could remember. I think we're going to see him use the leg kicks more. He's not going to worry about being taken down by Islam. If he does get taken down, he'll either bounce back right back up, or, you know, just do what he did in the fourth round and just, you know, keep whacking Islam in the face while he's fucking back mounted. But I think he's even probably worked on a game plan out of that. You know, I know obviously it's not the greatest circumstances for Volkanovski, but he stays in shape all year out. You know, he wanted the fight on this card after his surgery and everything, so I'm sure he's been staying in shape. He's been preparing for Islam since that last fight, I'm sure of. I'm sure, knowing the type of guy Alexander Volkanovski is, you know, that loss would have ate at him, and he was definitely just training, thinking about ways he could work on his performance. Like, I don't think he got back to Wingdang or got back to, you know, New South Wales after the first Islam fight and just said, well, I'm not going to train anything towards Islam, you know. I'm sure he would have figured out things he could have done. Like, he would have worked on game plans and everything for Islam after the fight, thinking if, you know, eventually he gets a rematch, things he could have done differently. And I just think, you know, if you watch that first fight, with the way it ended, Volkanovski being like coming on strong there, dropping him and everything, he's going to have so much confidence, even though he lost. He's gonna come out there like that fifth round. I feel like he's not going to be as well. Like I say, he's not going to be as wary as the takedown. I don't think Islam will get as much off in the striking. And I think maybe Islam could even get too overconfident with the striking because he had so much success. And I think Volk could actually crack him. And we've seen that he did crack Islam. You know, Islam got cracked a few times by Volk in that fight. We've seen Volk hurt him quite a lot. And I think Alexander Volkanovski is going to knock Islam out, and he's going to become the double champ. It's the year of the upsets, you know, but that's not just my reasoning. I generally think I would pick Alexander Volkanovski against most men on this earth. I think he's that good, and if anyone can go in there and beat Islam Makhachev on short notice, it's Alexander Volkanovski. And obviously, Islam Makhachev does have a full camp and everything, but I think preparing for someone like Oliveira, who's pretty wild, not as technical, not as defensively sound, you know, not doesn't have the submission defense that a Volkanovski has. I think that this is actually like pretty bad for Islam to have to prepare for Volk. Volk's not an easy stylistic matchup for anyone, especially short notice. A lot of people said that about like Islam, like nobody could beat Islam on short notice. But Arman Tazoukian gave Islam Makhachev a really tough fight on short notice. Obviously, different stylistic matchup, but Volk might be one of the hardest guys to fight on short notice because it's just such a style that he's good everywhere. He works on game plans on the fly. His fight IQ is the highest in the sport, in my opinion. And it's just he's not someone you can just prepare for on 11 days. I honestly, Alexander Volkanovski is going to get this one done, and he probably will fight Ilia Topuria in January. It would not surprise me. I think Volk is that good. Like, I think this is a big risk. Don't get me wrong. There's a big risk, but a Volkanovski with a mindset of nothing to lose is a really dangerous man in there because he's not gonna feel as much pressure, and he's gonna be he's not gonna be injured going in there. He's gonna be, like I say, he's going to be in shape and everything because he never. It's not like he's a Paddy Pimblett who goes out there and fucking eats a shit ton and puts on like 20 kilos out of camp. Volkanovski's not a guy like that. He's a guy who stays in shape all year round. I've heard from sources that he's actually in really good shape. That he's looking really good. He's looking slick. Like he's looking like, obviously he's not going to be in the most. He's not going to be in fight camp shape like instantly, but he is in great shape. Like, how am I word? I'm making this sound like he's like not in shape. Like he is in great shape. Without it even like being in a full fight camp. And I generally think that like he's gonna look great in there, and like his cardio, he's got some of the best cardio in the UFC in my opinion. And I still think he'll have the better cardio here. I'm sure he was training in preparation because he said he wanted this fight. So I don't think this is going to be like as short notice as it seems like. Like obviously I'm sure he was preparing more for Islam. He wanted that Islam fight, so I can't shake this feeling he's going to get it done, man. I just think Alexander Volkanovski is that good that he can go in there on this short notice and he can take Islam Makhachev out. I've only ever picked against Islam twice, and those two times were Alexander Volkanovski, and the second time is Alexander Volkanovski. There's no man I would pick confidently against Islam Makhachev except for this man. I think Alexander Volkanovski, skill for skill, is one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's just so smart in there. He wouldn't be Volkanovski's not the type of guy to take a fight if he's coming in there out of shape, fat, tired, gassed out, not in shape at all. He wouldn't be taking this if he wasn't confident. Volkanovski's not a stupid guy. He wouldn't be taking this if he doesn't think he can win this. And maybe he's just confident from the first fight, but that confidence will go really far. If he's not as nervous, if he doesn't have as much pressure, he's not going to. Pressure is a real big gas tank. Like being really gassed out does drain your gas tank. I know, I know from experience, if you're in competition or something like that and you're gassed out, like if you're pressured, if you're in have a lot of pressure towards you, you're gonna fatigue a lot quicker. But I think Volkanovski's gonna go in there not feeling as much pressure, but he's gonna train his ass off for the time he has, and I think he's gonna go in there. He's gonna still be in great shape, and I think he's gonna get Islam out of there in the second round. That's my prediction. I know I sound like a crazy person. I know maybe it sounds like I'm talking out my ass a little bit, but I generally think Volkanovski is going to get this one done. I was leaning towards Islam, but I know Volkanovski, being how strong he left that fifth round. I can just see him picking up where he left off. I know obviously Islam was really gassed in that fifth round, but Volk's going to have so much more confidence knowing he can handle Islam's strength, knowing he can handle his grappling, knowing that if he does get taken down, he can just bounce back up. It's not like he's gonna just lose all that skill because he fought Yair afterwards. He's got really good muscle memory. I'm sure he's gonna remember all the stuff he trained in that first camp. It wasn't that long ago. Maybe you could say the same about Islam Makhachev. He's gone from Volkanovski to Volkanovski. He hasn't fought another opponent, but he was preparing for Charles Oliveira. And like I said before, Charles Oliveira, completely different stylistic matchup. horrible fighter to prepare for, and then get Volkanovski, in my opinion. Like I say, Muay Thai fighter in Oliveira, Muay Thai Jiu-Jitsu, dangerous, very defensively not sound. His defense isn't the greatest. Very hittable, uh, gets dropped quite a lot. Very aggressive. Then you got Volkanovski, very patient, has really good feints. Some of the best striking in the UFC. Obviously, Oliveira's got some really good striking too, but I think Volkanovski's like striking is better. Some of the best grappling, in my opinion. I know he doesn't use it very often, but Volkanovski is really underrated. He's got some really dangerous ground and pound, as we've seen in that fifth round. Like, if he knocks Islam down, he's going to get on top of Islam. He's going to punch his head through the canvas. But still, this is still obviously a very dangerous fight for both men. I'm not saying this is going to be one-sided or anything, but I just think Volk will go in there and finish him. Obviously, Islam is a very tough fighter. He's a really good fighter. All respect to Islam. He's got a championship mindset. You know, he doesn't look for easy fights. John Jones turned down fighting Chael Sonnen, out of all people, Chael Sonnen, who he then went on to destroy. Chael is undefeated though, but you know what I mean. Like, generally, fucking insane though. Like, I can't believe out of all the people in the world, Chael Sonnen was the person who John Jones ducked. Like, I don't know, it's weird to think about, but I respect Islam Makhachev. He didn't have to go in and take this fight, but the fact he is, all respect in the world to him. Like, he's got that championship mindset, but I do think Volkanovski's going to go in there and beat him, in my opinion. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know. I have such a weird feeling about this man, and he's a massive underdog, and it is the year of the underdog. So I just think Volk will go in there, and he's gonna knock Islam Makhachev out. But obviously, I'm not super confident given the short notice aspect of the fight. But I was after that first Islam fight, my first thought was fucking Volk gets him in a rematch if age doesn't catch up to him. He's not much older. It was the same year, but yeah, the short notice does scare me a little bit, but I don't give a shit. I'm picking Alexander Volkanovski. I think he gets this one done. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video if you liked my take on this fight, or if you didn't like my take, still like it. It's always nice to get a like. And if you're not already, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.